How's the vibe going? How you doing? How you doing? Just middle of the road, Bo. Okay. All right. Well, let's change that. Let's improve that. Today, I want to talk about manifesting. I want to talk about the vibration aspect of manifesting. And it's one of those teaching moments that I love so much because part of my teaching style is that when I explain how things work with like analogies, it gives you a grasp of it in a new way and then a new approach. And you find that it stays in the forefront of your mind a little bit more. And you also feel like almost you have a little bit more control over it. So, we're going to improve our manifesting today, talking about vibration. And we're going to talk about steps that you can do that. So, I'll leave you with tools. That's what I do. That's what I do. I love sharing manifesting stories as well. So then I will go into some story time in the middle of this, share some fun manifesting stories for you, kind of like pumping you up for what's possible and what you can do for yourself in manifesting. And then at the end, as always, we will chat with my guide, Peter. He's got some important stuff talking about the energies coming into the earth right now and what that means for you. And he also talked a little bit about how like the wow factor is going away. And we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, let's do this. Just a quick little blip here to talk about GCP. If you've been following me for a while, you're probably using GCP at this point, but this is something I talk about in the podcast quite frequently. And people always ask me, how do I learn how to do GCP? I have been teaching this practice for free for well over 15 years. This is what I would say. Ground Clear Protect, which is what it stands for, makes the lows in your life a little less low and the highs a whole lot higher. It is an energetic practice that when done daily is a game changer. Try it for 7 days and see what I'm talking about. And again, it's completely free. So look for my top 5 intuitive tools course, which is a free course. And the very first video in there is GCP. Heidi Hoo, neighbor. Welcome back to the podcast. If you've been here for a while, welcome back, my friend. If you're new, welcome to the podcast. It is all about your intuition. It's all about your spiritual journey. If you're here, you've popped open, wide open, eyes wide open. You're like, wow, there is more to life than the material world. And I'm having some experiences and I love this. And I'm here for you. That's like my whole job. I'm one big old cheerleader. I'm what's considered a lighthouse teacher. And a lighthouse teacher is somebody that just gives you as much information as she can give you to help you on your journey, because your journey is unique. That's really important to remember. Your journey is unlike anyone else's. Your journey is you in a rowboat going up the shore, and I shine my light on you and go, hey, here's all this information. But you don't stay there. I give you all the light I can, all of the information and energy I can, and you go on your journey, and then you go to your next level. We're all leveling up. It's pretty cool. So today, however, I want to talk about manifesting. I said, however, there's no however. This is all inclusive. And I want to talk about manifesting. Let's jump into this. I want to explain and give a kind of a setup for you to be able to move forward with how our system, how the like attracts like thing works. Like what is that? And how much control do we have over it? You know, isn't life just happening to us, Bo? What's free will? All those kinds of questions. That's what I want to talk about today. And in my typical style, I'm going to start with a couple of tidbits. And these are tidbits that are building blocks. We're aware of what manifesting is. We've been trying to do it. Sometimes we're successful. And we really want to get to that point where we can manifest very well. I will tell you for myself, I love manifesting. I manifest very well today compared to 20 years ago. Opened up 20 years ago. Before that, was a complete skeptic. And my manifesting abilities have dramatically improved. And what I'm going to share with you today is one of the reasons why they improved. When I had this concept under my belt and understood it, I had so much more control of manifesting that it became easier. So here's the general outline. And then I'm going to give you the tidbits that are like the foundational stuff we have to understand to really grasp this. What is within your energetic system is what you will attract more of. And if you are doing manifesting techniques, which are very important, like thinking about something, writing it down, saying affirmations, but those don't match what's within your vibe, then it's going to be difficult to manifest. You'll be able to manifest some things, yes, you will, but not with ease, not on the daily. And I bet you know either you yourself or you know someone who manifests all the time. And you're like, dude, I remember like 15 years ago, I was working on manifesting and my friend was magnificent at it. And I remember driving home with her one day and she goes, I could really use a bike rack. And we turn the corner and there's a bike rack on the side of the road with a sign that says free. I'm like, how do you do that? Turns out it just is for her. This is what she believes, that what she asks for, she will get. And there's serious truth in that. Serious truth in that. Now, manifesting is a matter of two aspects. It is your spiritual path. You're on it. You can't really get off of it. It was preset for yourself. You yourself preset it before you came down here. But it's also how you move through that path. So it's two things that play into manifesting. So on one side of this coin, the reason we can't manifest everything we want is because that path is set. But the reason we can manifest a lot is because if we move on that path, I don't want to say correctly because there's no right or wrong on it, right? But if we move on that path with intention, we will be able to manifest more than nothing. We'll say more than nothing. So we end up in this beautiful middle ground of manifesting more than we thought we could, but not quite being able to manifest everything we want because we're on this path. Let me describe that path in a different way. When we come down here with like an outline, a blueprint. So imagine like a blueprint of your house, like of a big old house. It hasn't been built yet, right? But it's just the blueprint. There's no furniture, no colors, no dishware, no decor. That's how you come into this world. So your spiritual path is the blueprint. There are certain structures in that house when it's built that have to be that way. But how we decorate our path is up to us. So we've got this spiritual blueprint, right? So it's like a blueprint of a house, just as an analogy. The house is you, spoiler alert. And as you age, you pick the colors of the walls, you pick out the dishes, you pick out the couch, you furnish the place, you decorate it. Sometimes you might redecorate it, AKA midlife crisis. So for example, if in this metaphor, let's say you're in your early 20s and you decide to finally buy a couch and you go out and you pick out a couch and it looks great. It's a good looking couch, right? First couple times you sit on it, it's great. But shortly after that, the couch makes you feel uncomfortable. It's kind of mean. And it's a really insecure couch. And you're like, you know what? I don't want this couch. So you take the couch out to the curb where the couch belongs and you get a new couch. You get a new couch, a nice one. It's warm and cushy and supportive. See, I'd rather sit on that couch. And we're also going to end the metaphor there because that kind of ended in a slightly offbeat, funny manner. So point being is when people say, do I have free will? Yes, you do. That's how you decorate the house. But the house is the house, right? How this applies to manifesting is the house is the house, your path is the path. The lows that are going to come into your life are going to come into your life. The highs that are going to come into your life are going to come into your life. How you navigate with intention through that will determine how low the lows are and how high the highs are. And someone says, well, Bo, this thing happened and it was really horrible and it was absolutely the lowest point. Yes, completely. Honor that for your experience and what you're going through. And I will not be the one to say, oh, it could have been worse, because that's just toxic crap. But my point being is when I say the lows are a little less low, the inconveniences aren't as frequent. The things that you need come into your life sooner. The big stuff, that's the big stuff. And we got to honor that because we decided to come down here and be human. Yay us, right? But the inconveniences and such that happen. Now, let's get to manifesting. When it comes to like attracts like, it's everything. What is within your system energetically is what you're going to attract more of. And then, then there was the movie The Secret. Do you remember the movie The Secret? Came out like, I don't know, 78 years ago. But anyway, it was all about manifesting, and I completely agree with it. The only thing I didn't like about it was that it kind of left you with this flavor of bad flavor in your mouth of like, okay, well, if bad things happen to me, it's my fault. So let's just address that right now. Not true. No, path is your path. Your path is set. In your energetic system, I want you to imagine a bubble that's just around you. This is your energetic body, because your physical body resides within your energetic body. Your energetic body, your spiritual body, your spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? So it's like a Stay Puft marshmallow suit that you're walking around in. Now, this energetic body is absolutely magnetic. Absolutely magnetic. So when I say, how's the vibe? I'm asking you how your energetic body is. Not how your physical body is, not how your brain is, not what you're thinking about, but the vibe. How is the vibration? At what level is your energetic body vibrating? Okay, so we've now pictured this. We know about the blueprint, right? We know that how we walk with intention is going to increase our manifesting abilities. Now let's get some tools with this. We've got the energetic body, the energy in it, our vibe is what attracts more things. Now we get into the nuts and the bolts. The like, this is how we do it. When you hear someone say fake it till you make it, that's what I'm talking about. When you hear someone say believe it as if it is, that's what I'm talking about. Because what happens when you do that is your vibration in your energetic body, it almost like changes channels. It almost like tunes into a different channel. Because your energetic body is not necessarily a part of this material world. It's not participating in linear time. This isn't the case, but I kind of jokingly feel like saying, if you asked your energetic body what day it was, your energetic body would go, huh? Like, spirit doesn't function on time. Spirit doesn't function on the solid and this table and this camera and this. It just doesn't function on that. It functions on what is and what isn't. So when you bring into your energetic body what you want, you're bringing in what is. Your energetic body goes, oh, this is it. Got it. I'm going to tune my vibration to that instead of this. Another way to say this is, let's say you've been just down and out for like a week, just super bummed. And you just can't seem to get that thing that you want to come into your life. And you're like, oh, I just can't get that thing to come into my life. Your vibration within your inner energetic body is set at a certain number. Your job is to change that dial. All right, this is what I want you to do. I want you to imagine a dial in the palm of your hand. Wow, that metaphor just went deep. The dial is in the palm of your hand. It's yours. You've got it. No, seriously, imagine a dial, like a radio dial. Remember those old speaker dials? I loved them. In the palm of your hand, and that dial is set to your current vibration. And let's say, we're going to stick with a metaphor here. Let's say that dial is set to the color green. And everyone wearing green just starts saying hello to you, interacting with you, giving you green plants and green vegetables. And you're like, I don't like vegetables, but thank you very much. And I, have a habit of, killing plants. So green is not my shade. What I need you to do is I need you to turn the dial. Just imagine it's in the palm of your hand. And I want you to imagine turning it to a different vibration, a different color. Right? Like the color pink. And you're like, I can do that. And people that are wearing pink and love things that are pink come walking towards you and giving you things like little hearts, right? And flowers, etc. And you're like, all right, you're standing there, munching on your Kit Kat with flowers instead of vegetables. This is how it works best for me. But that dial shift is a conscious shift. It's how you walk your spiritual path with intention. There is a tipping point that you will hit when it comes to manifesting, where you go from, I wonder if this is working and I wonder if I can do it, to, of course this works. Of course this works. This is how this works. So that's something to keep in mind of setting that intention. Do you have to have it set all the time? And this is where I didn't really like that part in the movie The Secret. You don't have to do this all the time. You just have to get into a habit of reminding yourself, where am I at? Where am I at? How am I doing? Where am I at? I heard somebody say you can choose happiness, and then they had the routine 10 times a day of just they're setting their phone to randomly ring a bell, and every time it did, they would choose happiness, and it drastically improved their life. They're literally doing what I'm saying. They changed the dial. They said, okay, no, I do own my own business, or I do enjoy my life with the love of my life. Even if you haven't opened the business yet, even if that person hasn't come into your life yet, you already know it. It's like it's within you. You changed the dial, and you now know that your existence is pink, not green. And then somebody says, yes, Bo, but there's still a lot of green around me. I changed the energetic dial, but there's still a lot of green around me. And I say, I love you, my dear. You have the same problem I do, which is that you're impatient. And I say that from one of the most impatient persons I know, myself. So I get it. But this is that statement of you have to take action to get results. You have to change the dial a number of times a day until it becomes just what it is. I'll give you a dial of mine. I used to be married, and I was married for 20 years and got divorced. Best thing. But I used to be married, and he just didn't want to travel. He just didn't want to travel. He didn't want to, he was not an adventurer. I'm sure there's like a recliner in his future, and that's cool. But I love traveling. And when I divorced, I left. I left in the style of, $100 in my pocket, and I got this. I'm not worried about it. I was 43 years old at the time, and I immediately started changing the dial. I was sleeping on a twin mattress in an office, like at night, illegally. Don't tell the building manager. I'm kidding. He wouldn't even remember me, but it was a low point. It was a low point. And I made the decision that I wasn't going to live in that low. I was living in the low, but I wasn't going to keep my dial there. So I started to constantly daydream as if it already was, speak as if it already was. I travel frequently. I travel 3-4 times a year. And I love it. I love airports. I love travel. I'm planning a European trip. I'm like all of this stuff just every single day. I would just say it. I have abundance of clothing, and because I didn't, right? And I have more than enough in my bank account. I always have more than enough money in my bank account. And sometimes I would even change the dial by faking a conversation, with nobody in that room on that twin mattress on the floor of an office. And I would say, I am currently planning my next trip. And I would imagine the person saying, oh, can you afford that? And I'd say, well, of course, I just don't even look at my bank account anymore. I have so much in it, so I don't worry about that. What I worry about is what I want to do on the trip. And then I just go do it. I change this dial every day. And within a couple months, I was renting a house. Within a couple months, I moved across the country. Within a couple months, my company took off. Within a couple more months, and obviously we're adding these months up, okay, because this is like a 3-year journey that I just explained to you. But about 3 years later, by the time we were 3 years later, I didn't have to look at my bank account. I knew, now I'm not, I wouldn't put myself in a rich status, but I would put myself in the kind of status where you can put your bills on automatic. And you're like, yay, that's a huge point to get to. And I got to that point. I was very happy. It was the releasing of worrying. And that's a wonderful thing. So getting to that point was a milestone for me. I redecorated my blueprint house. I said, I don't like the style of this house. I'm redecorating it. I'm replacing that damn couch for certain. I'm just got rid of the couch. I didn't care if another couch came in. I just got rid of that couch. So metaphorically, I redesigned my blueprint, and I walked through that metaphorical house every single day, changing the dial, changing the vibration in my energetic system so I would magnetically attract what I wanted. And 3 years later, I had gotten everything that I had asked for, really. And so that's the shift that I ask you to do is maybe set a timer on your phone, like a random bell. There's a random bell app out there, guaranteed. There's an app for everything. Did you know that there's an app that you can shake your phone and it sounds like a whip, and then it plays the Indiana Jones theme? Yeah, see, you can find an app for everything. So get that app and that other app too. But find a way numerous times a day to change the vibration, to change the dial, to change it to a different setting, to change it to the setting that you want to be in. And then you'll get there faster. And you'll get there with more ease. And it'll be kind of fun, actually. So, in summary, right, when it comes to manifesting, a huge part of it is energetically attracting to you the things that you want. So, yes, we have all of the techniques. Those are wonderful. Keep using them. But this technique is all about changing the dial, changing your mindset, making the decision firmly that it just is. This is just my life. I literally made a course on this because of this. And the course is called the Of Course course. And it's a part of the SAGE method, the 7-week intuitive development course. And the Of Course course, which is a sub-course within that course, is all about being able to go through your life. And when a great thing happens, you go, well, of course it did. Why would I be surprised that it did? Because that is my life. It is awesome. I travel all the time. I have an abundance of things. I've got wonderful people in my life and 2 cute dogs, of course. So I even bundled that all up into there. So if you want to dive deeper in that, search for that course. But this is the summary. Your spiritual path is laid out. Your blueprint was created before you came down here. How you decorate that blueprint house, how you walk that path with intention is going to determine the amount of experiences that you have. And it's going to determine how much you can manifest in your life. How do we do this? We change the tone, we change the dial, we decide what we are instead of just agreeing that this is what we're in. We make the decision. If you are, let me say it a different way. If you have a friend that says, what happened? Your confidence is off the charts lately, and you're almost like, you're almost delusional, and you just decided that your bank account is abundant and that you travel all the time. If a friend says that to you, you've done it. You've done it. You've mastered manifesting. You've mastered manifesting. When you can walk through this world, and it takes practice, it took me practice, 3 years, remember, and then it started to really kick in. When you can walk through this world, just knowing that what you need will show up, that's fun. That's just fun. Be that friend that says, I really need a bike rack. And then she turns the corner and there's a free bike rack. And you're like, I'll be darned. So I was trying to come up with a couple of my manifesting stories, a couple stories that I could be like, yeah, this is what happens when you manifest all the time. And I thought, I was looking for the big ones, right? The really impactful ones. And I thought, no, we're talking about changing the dial. We're talking about living it and manifesting every day. So what does that mean? It means manifesting the small things too. And then I thought, I got it. After that 3-year episode, right, where I changed the dial, my partner and I decided to go full-time RVing. And it was magic. It was manifesting a lot, and it was fun. So here's a couple small ones to kind of give you that feel for what life is like in the pattern of manifesting. Let's start off with purchasing the RV. I went into the dealership and the dealership said, nope, I can't give you a loan because you're already on a loan with your ex-husband on another RV. So banks won't give you a loan for 2 RVs. I said, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. I went home, I changed the dial, and I said, I'm going RVing. The RV is in my driveway. I'm doing this. I am RVing. I changed the dial. A month later, my son calls me up and says, hey Ma, did you know that tree that was behind the RV, that like once a year you'd go out there and say hi to grandfather tree? He goes, yeah, that tree fell on Dad's RV and the RV got totaled. So I was like, okay. Now the RV is totaled. I'm no longer on that loan. I went back to the dealership and got my dream RV. So hit the road. We're on the road for maybe a week. And somebody starts telling us how gorgeous national parks are, and Zion, especially Zion National Park. And I was like, that's drivable. We could go there next. So I went back into the camper. I found a campground at Zion National Park, called and said, we're on our way there. Do you have any campsites? And she goes, hold on. She comes back and says, yeah, as a matter of fact, we've got a campsite for you. I'm like, well, it's a big RV. It's 42 feet long. And she goes, yeah, that'll fit. Come on in. So we talked to that person the next day at the campground who suggested we go to Zion. And I said, oh, we're going. He goes, well, when? And I said, like, in a week, we're going to leave and we're going to drive down there. He goes, well, you can't get a spot. And I said, oh, yeah, I called and I booked a spot. And he goes, how? I said, I just did. And he said, no. Those places, there's like a long waiting list. And I said, I don't know what to tell you, but we're going to Zion. And I did. Went to Zion. So that was another one. I had changed the dial on that one and said, I'm going to Zion next. I will be RVing in Zion. I'm so excited to go that it's happening. It's not, I hope I can get in. I wonder if it's going to be. I changed the dial to, it's happening. Okay. Then this is like a year later. I'm just giving you a sprinkling. They were all along the way, but I'm giving you a sprinkling. About a year later, we were in a fairgrounds. We stayed the night at a fairgrounds. By the way, RVers, staying the night at fairgrounds is wonderful. Quiet, calm, peaceful. It's great. It was in New York. It was called Sunshine Fairgrounds. That happened to be my son's nickname. And I was like, yes, we're going to totally stay there. And we were talking about enjoying just all the random stuff that pops up, these unusual things that we see all the time, and how much joy that brings us. I was changing the dial. I didn't even know I was changing the dial that time, because we went to bed, woke up, and my partner, who's an early morning guy, bless his heart, he's an early morning dude, he comes back in the RV and he goes, you're not going to believe what's out here. And I got dressed, we went outside, and there was a full-on chicken show, like the most gorgeous, unique chickens. And there's blue ribbons, and there's people, like handlers maybe, I don't know, but I was like shuffling through in my slippers, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Nicest people, totally into what they do, and these chickens were so cool. Yeah, it got me kind of hooked on chickens. I was like, this is great. And I got back in the camper and I'm like, this is what it's about. And I went, wait a minute, we were just talking about this. We were talking about how awesome it is that we're submersed in these experiences of just being able to go out and like have these really unique situations that are wonderful pop up here and there. I changed the dial on that one without even knowing it, because it becomes automatic. I decided that was our existence, and I said it because there was sprinklings of it, and it was, but I highlighted it. I talked about it. I highlighted it in my energetic body and said, I love that we get to have this all the time right now. Next morning, there you go. There you go. One more, because this is my favorite one. You might have already heard this. But with that said, we left one campground and we were driving to another fairground, but this time it was the town grounds, and they had RV hookups there. Again, wonderful, super quiet, love it. And on the way there, casually in the truck, I said to my partner, I've been hearing about these axe throwing bars where you can go to a bar and they got bullseyes and you can throw axes at the bullseyes. I'm like, I want to do that. We got to find that. So let's keep our eye out for one. And he said, yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're going to go axe throwing. That was it. That was the dial change. And then we landed at the grounds, parked, went to bed, Next morning, same scenario. My little early bird love of my life comes running in the camper. He's like, yup. I'm like, yeah. He goes, you're not going to believe this. The farmer's market's here. And I'm like, well, go get some vegetables then for yourself. Fruit for me, please. And he said, no, 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 no. There is a mobile axe throwing unit at the farmer's market right outside our front door. And I'm like, stop it. That's so much fun. That's so much fun. So that is what I mean. Living that way, asking for what you want, deciding what you want is already there or coming, and enjoying the process, that changes the dial. So go out there and change the dial. I'll see you next week. If you've listened to a couple of the podcast episodes, you may have noticed that I don't have any advertising in them. And I do this on purpose because my reason for being here with you is to talk about your intuition, to bring it into your day-to-day life, because everyone is intuitive. Everyone is intuitive. I've been teaching people how to hone their intuition, how to access their already natural, strong intuition for well over 15 years all over the globe. It is my calling. It's my job to remind you of how incredible you are, how intuitive you are, and say, here's how you open up that intuitive channel of yours that is already super strong. I've been teaching this through a course called the Sage Method. So you might hear me reference it. It's a 7-week development course. And that, along with free tools and a whole bunch of other really great stuff, I keep it all in one place. It's at thesagemethod.com. So go over there, see what you're pulled to, and start honing your intuition. All right, little one, let's chat with Peter, shall we? Okay, my guide Peter is particularly interested in the energies of the globe. Now, what happens with that is that these energies can be spoken about on multiple different levels. So we can talk about things are moving faster, and that's going to mean, things in your life are moving faster, your community, your job, etc., and the globe. These are the energies that he addresses. And I was talking to my guide earlier. It was a really interesting conversation because he mentioned how there's new energies coming in. And you may have heard this. I might not be the first one telling you this, but he talked about new energies coming in. So what I want to do is I want to take a minute. I'm going to do GCP. I'm just going to get kind of quiet, right? And then I'm going to see what Peter has to share with us, and I will share it with you. Okay, here we go. Okay, just a note, if you're watching this, it is the very end of November 2025. And we've been talking a lot about how there's new energies coming into the earth. Like I said, I was having a conversation with Peter. He's telling me that, he started off by saying, this is the end of special. This is like in air quotes, special. This is the end of an era where one led and the rest followed. This is the end of an era where what is that person doing? Because what that person's doing is what I should be doing as well. There's a really interesting thing happening around the entire globe right now. He says as the energies come in, multiple sources of energies, your everyday folks, and I don't even want to use the word average because we're all awesome equally in our own rights, but everyday folks are being called to step into patterns and energy that they've never stepped into before. Sometimes at an alarming experience of what the heck am I doing? What's going on with this right now? And what's fascinating about that is the star factors going away, the wow factors going away. And instead of one person fixing something or leading, it's going to be many people coming together doing the same thing. So instead of, one, this is what he just showed me, and I chuckled because I'm like, well, that makes complete sense. He said it's like we've been functioning here on Earth, calling on one firefighter to come put out a fight, and now we finally have a team of firefighters who are coming to put out a fire. And I chuckled because that just seems so obvious. That just seems so obvious. It just seems so, yeah. What have we been doing with just one, right? It's been many of them that it makes it work. Okay, so he's talking about how it's more of whatever task is at hand, multiple people will be doing it. This is an expression of community. Totally get that. But there's a uniqueness to this. The specialties that people have, they're going to be reveling in sharing that similarity with someone else. Like, you're really good at this? Awesome. I'm glad I found you. Okay, let's talk about this together. Let's do this kind of stuff together. That sort of thing. And it's going to be really powerful. So that's the first thing he talks about, is how we're going to go from just one special person leading this thing to a whole bunch of people coming together to lead together. That's really important. And again, he talks about things on different levels. He talks about things on your personal level, on a community level, on a work level. Hello. and on a global level as well. So that's kind of important to note, because if you think about who are you going to be following, I don't mean that like in a bad way, but is it going to be 3 teachers instead of just one? Can you imagine the education you get from 3 different points of view, right? So when you search for something, search for multiple outlets. When you want to do something, find others that are doing the same thing and have similar traits. Also, the wow factor is gone. I'm asking him what he means by the wow factor is gone. He's like, that's it. The wow, it's like, when meaning that's all the information on that right now. So the wow factor is gone. I guess a lot of us are tired of it. He just smiled. So I'm going to take that as confirmation. Now, these multiple energies coming in are beings. This is not the first time this has happened. They are beings who are globally assisting us to get into the next phase. Again, I feel like you're probably watching this going, I know this on a core level. Like, I don't know how I know, but I know, because they're all around you. And if we take these different beings, and it's not just one type, right? So if someone says, oh, this particular type of being has come here to Earth to support us and help us lift the energy, change the vibration, that's fantastic. That's only one of many different types that are collectively coming here to work together. Remember, we're going from the I to the we, so there's going to be a lot of them. Now, the other thing would be these multiple types of species, beings who are coming here to help are so benevolent. They're so benevolent, because I can feel them almost saying, you're almost there. You're almost there. You're so close. You're almost there. You got this. And their job is simply to hold the platform solid for us to be able to step up onto the platform. That's it. That's their job. And they're assisting at making sure. It feels like we are absolutely going to get there. And I'll say it in another way. It feels like these beings are saying, you're scheduled to get there. It's supposed to happen. We're just making the transition a little bit easier and a little bit more, say that again, a little bit more accessible, easier to grasp is what he's saying. Okay, the other part of this, we've got multiple sources of energy coming in here, multiple beings. Yes, they're not from Earth. They're benevolent. This is not the first time this has happened. And we also have multiple people coming together on all levels of your life, sharing the tasks of moving things forward instead of just blindly following one person. That era is kind of over. So keep that in mind. The special wow is gone. And this is going to be he just said it, and I'm like, well, that's an interesting twist. So this is what he just said. It's going to be different, because this wow factor, this special factor going away and dissipating, think of it like a fog that's all over the globe, and everyone's in the fog, and they're like, oh, that person's really wow, right? And so I want to be like them. The fog's lifted, and the cool part is that you've been invited into your own unique power, and you've been empowered. You've woken up. I guarantee you've probably woken up in the last couple of weeks going, wow, I am spiritually open, or I just opened up, or wow, I do have this ability, or wow, I do have a calling. And the interesting twist about this wow factor, this special factor going away, is that that was a block for you. Let me explain what he's saying. A block for you was, is this real? Can I really do this? This is a special thing or a wow thing. Is it possible for me to be able to do this? Is this really happening? Now that the wow factor is going away, that fog is going to lift off of your fear of if this is real for you, if you can do this. And in essence, he says, it just is. And you just are. And yes, you can do this. And yes, the calling is there. And yes, what you experienced was real. And now this fog lifting of this special, it's so big, it's so huge, and so wow kind of factor, with that lifting, you will feel more comfortable in your shoes. It's almost like they're like, you know those leaf blowers that blow all the leaves out of your lawn? It's almost like they're using a leaf blower on that, what is that called? Imposter syndrome. Yeah, there's just a giant leaf blower blowing away all the imposter syndrome and all the woo-woo and is it real and all that. So yeah, settle in to that feeling of, I don't know how I know, but I know, because you do know. Settle into that, he says. Okay. Anytime, your only challenge from him today is anytime that bubbles back up, because there's a little bit of a habit there. Anytime that bubbles back up for you, he wants you to pull it, like imagine pulling the energy of it out of you and into a bubble and blowing that bubble away. Might take a few times, but keep doing it on repeat until you no longer carry that energy that doesn't align with the current energies. And that, my friend, is information from Peter. I'll see you next week.
This podcast is brought to you by the SAGE Method, the most comprehensive and down-to-earth intuitive development training available. Is this your year? Is it finally your time to increase your intuition, bring in more abundance, and experience the bliss you deserve? If yes, then join thousands of students across the world for a 7-week journey to uncover your natural, beautiful, and strong intuition. Visit us at thesagemethod.com for more information.